equipped better to stand out from the crowd as a go-to expert in your field. Each week, Rich Bontrager interviews top leaders, influencers, authors, speakers, podcasters, and media professionals about how to leverage media best to help you shine brighter on camera and stage as a go-to expert. Now, here's your host, The Trigger, Rich Bontrager.
Well, thank you once again, Dan. We're back once again for Rock the Stage Show. We're live streaming on multiple channels. And again, we're here to help you shine on camera, to shine on stage, and elevate you into brand authority. But as we get started tonight, I want to ask you a question. What does it take to get involved with Hollywood? How do you get involved with the film industry? How do you crack into that? If you want to know about that, you're going to want to stick around tonight and join our conversation. We're going to get into some of that and much, much more as we get into another edition of How to Rock the Stage Show. And we also want to let you know that this show is being powered by our good friends at Autovita Studios. Autovita Studios has an experienced team paired with their state-of-the-art remote recording processes that help bring your message to the market even faster. They work with you to produce the audio books or podcast series, and then they help you distribute it to the marketplace to go wider and wider and higher. For more information, learn more about Autovita and how they can help you, go to autovita.com. That's autovita.com. And again, they are always with us. And they're going to take this show and turn it into an audio podcast. And you'll be able to find that on Apple and many of your other podcast streaming platforms. So thank you to Autovita for making that possible. So tonight, how do you get into the film industry? And it's a lot easier than it used to be. Believe me, this is going to be a fun conversation. And tonight I want to introduce you to Asger Folmann. He moved to the United States in 2013, started pursuing his old dream of acting while waiting for his paperwork to be finalized for the States. And this led to dozens of acting gigs over the years and has pivoted into screenwriting, directing, and now producing. And Asger, by the way, has built a successful business himself. Get this, using social media, publishing a book, appearing in dozens of movies, and now is writing and producing his own films, which we'll be talking about here tonight. Asger Folmann, welcome to How to Rock the Stage Show.
Thanks for having me on, Rich. My pleasure.
What an amazing life. As I have dug into your background.
You sure have. I'm kind of impressed, yeah.
You come from Denmark. You have a great American accent. Congratulations.
Cheers, man.
But you left Denmark. You came to the United States in 2013. And you had a master's in psychology, walked away from that and got into film. And what possessed you to do that?
Well, the short version is a relationship. That's how they get you hooked on the U.S., as you and many others will know. No, I moved here. And then I just realized, okay, I'm stuck here waiting for this paperwork to come through. Or it could be a year, it could be two. You don't know under those circumstances. So you can't work for money, but you can work for non-money, so to speak. Yeah. So I got a few acting gigs, and I sort of realized, oh, well, one can just do this, and before I knew, go ahead.
No. So I was going to say, nowadays you've got things like Backstage. You've got a lot of different media tools to plug into.
Right.
Did you use any of those, or did you just knock on doors, make connections, and befriend people?
No, initially I didn't. Initially I didn't know anything about it. And I started Googling. I think I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but not really though. Craigslist initially. And it's, you know what? It is not the worst place to find crew members or cast members. Yeah. And people on there, they may not be top shelf, so to speak, but they are typically motivated and hungry. And that's something that could really work in your favor.
Well, and it's independent. So a lot of them are very creative.
Right.
They don't necessarily want to do the traditional mold, and they're waiting to let their creative juices run wild. Is that part of the fun of this too?
The creative juices part, you mean?
Yeah.
It totally is. But I don't know. As an actor, I think there might be some actors watching here, but you're actually way more limited in your expression as an actor. There's typically a director, sometimes also a writer and or several producers, and they're very specific typically about what they want you to do and your delivery. Like,
That's
so if you don't like micromanagement, maybe stay out of acting.
well, and that's what a lot of people don't know. And I've talked to enough in the industry that it's like we take one shot from this angle, they reset the lighting, you take a hour break, you
Right.
come back to the same spot, they make up you up, and they take it from the angle. You go take another 2-hour break and come up and do it from the opposite angles.
Right.
People don't realize how much stop and start and sitting there is in the business, right?
It's madness, right? I've just as a reference there, the not the latest film project I was involved in, but I directed my friend's film, which is a comedy called Mimi Goes to Rehab. It's not out yet. It's currently being submitted to festivals. But one of the things, I'm sorry, you got to remind me. I lost my train of thought here. You were saying?
No, we were just talking about how long it takes you to reset the camera, the
Okay,
lights.
I'm back on track here. Okay, so we scheduled to shoot 4 minutes per day. That is not feasible. I can attest to that now. So my latest production, we scheduled 2.5 minutes per day. Wow. And that was realistic, I'd say. So that's like an 8, 9, 10-hour workday for 2.5 minutes of footage.
Well, and it's funny because actors talk about the amount of pages they have. You talk about the amount of time you have.
Right.
So somewhere that all comes together because the actors are like, I've got 3 pages today, and they talk about how immense that is.
Right.
They're really talking about the time of the shoot, not the pages, right?
Right. Well, actually, 1 page. This is like a rule of thumb, but it seems to be almost 100% correct in most cases. 1 page in a script typically equals 1 minute in the final film. So, right. So, but then, of course, if you, as an actor, if you have 3 pages of dialogue or monologue, even worse, right? You could sort of do the math there, right? So that's going to be 10 hours just you saying those lines.
Now, do you consider what you do independent? How do you label what you do?
Yeah, I would say indie films for sure right now.
So it is easier to get into business. Like I said at the beginning now, you do have YouTube. You do have short content platforms. You do now have outlets like I'm using Restream to do what we do every week. We have more tools than ever before. You have an iPhone to shoot a movie now. Uh-huh. So what are the steps to break in and begin to get seen, to get heard, to get into the industry?
Well, I think, I don't know, just to rewind the clock a bit here. So when I showed up here, I guess I was just doing these 1, 2, 3. One was a student film. I ended up getting some really good footage from a reel there, right? So, and just like dipping my toes in the industry, you quickly realize, well, all of these people that are involved in this are normal people like you and I, right? We're just in Hollywood, but there's any fool can fly to LA and drive into Hollywood, right? There's really nothing from stopping you there. So I don't know. It's not like there's some. They don't send you like a membership card. Now you're a member of Hollywood or the Indie Filmmaker Club, or it's nothing like that. So it's really just it's setting a goal and trying to achieve it. And we could probably talk some more about that because my philosophy is the reason that you should have goals is not because you'll actually expect to hit them specifically, but they plot a course. And if you don't have a course, you can end up anywhere. And that's where you don't want to go.
Yes, because if you don't know where you want to go,
right,
someone will kidnap you and take you where they want to take you, not where you want to go. And you will end up who knows where in the industry, right? Yeah.
And that might be a good place, but you want to increase your odds at every step you take. So, but just like, I guess it's a very broad question, right? Because joining the film industry is a very broad thing. As an actor, as a producer, as a camera operator, or you can do sound, you can do costume, wardrobe, makeup. There's so many set design. There's so many editing, many aspects of it. So first of all, like you need to be clear on what is it that you want to do, right?
So with that, because there is a plethora of ways, different doors that come in,
right?
Is it easier to come in through one of those, be an assistant, be a PA, be something else while you work on the acting on the side? Or is it better to come in and say, I want to be an actor, I'm going to cut my teeth and stay on that path? Which way is best?
I want to say from just talking indie independent film. Now,
Yeah.
I think getting the foot in the door, just an example from a life well lived recent short we shot that I wrote. So we had a really good PA. She just really knew her stuff, and she ended up being promoted to second assistant camera, and she managed our slate, and we realized, okay, we don't actually need a separate person for this because this person's just so talented, and she's now on my dream team. This is another thing. Let's actually follow through with this. So so William Budell, who's recently a guest on your show,
Yes.
he extended the courtesy to me and brought me to this networking event at Film Independent recently, and I remember hearing myself say there's like a round where everybody like had 30 seconds to present themselves, and I just heard myself say, "Who are you? What are you looking for?" I'm looking for my dream team, right? And that's essentially what I'm doing. So we just shot this film. I keep referring back to A Life Well Lived that I'm very excited about. It's still in
Yes.
post-production, so I can't show anything from it right now. But so we had a pretty big crew on there. Like essentially, I just followed the policy that anyone who wanted to help out could help out, provided they had some modicum
Right.
of skills, right? But from that, my eyes are open during production. On set, like this person's always keen on helping out. This person goes the extra mile. This person's really skilled in this other area, right? So then you can reach out and put some of those people on your dream team. It's not that like everyone contributed really important stuff on this production, so it's not to put anyone's work down, but some people really go the extra mile, right? And they make it onto my secret little short list.
Well, and let's talk a little bit about A Life Well Lived, because you're the director, executive producer. So sometimes those can clash, but when you're both one and the same, you can make a lot of great choices, like select your dream team.
Right.
So how does that go about? Because you really are producer, fundraiser, money spender, and director. So you really know everything that's going on, and that does help you, right? To put the pieces together.
It does. But it's also a challenge to. I'm still learning here, right? I am learning so much on every single production I'm involved in. I'm also the writer, by the way, of this. I'm very proud of this script, honestly. So just wanted to get that out there. But so it is. But okay. In looking back, for the next one, I need more people than myself that know every single aspect of the production, right? Because it also means like being the person who knows everything also means that you're the person everyone reaches out to.
Yes.
I had an AD, right? My good friend Michelle, and she's very resourceful, super competent person. But there are just like, especially on the creative side, there's just some stuff that she can't answer. So you know what I mean?
So when it comes to breaking in, there's the theory of go to a drama school, go through a media school, go to a production school, learn that way, pay the dues,
Right.
and then come out and come and give it a try. But I also hear there's another way you can apprentice. You can be a shadow. You can learn hands-on. You may be
Right.
rolling up a cable, but you're really hands-on learning. Which way do you think really works?
Well, whether you go to film school or not, no one's going to hire you if you don't have set experience. So that kind of answers your question, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So I mean, do you need film school? I don't know. I mean, you definitely need to approach it with humility, because otherwise you won't be able to learn anything, right? But yeah.
No. So also social media now has changed the game for everybody.
Right.
You are very active on social media. You have websites. You're an entrepreneur yourself. Cryptocurrency you're involved with, blockchain, you're in web 3.0. You have spread yourself around with a lot of social media energy, knowledge. How much does that help you also as the industry evolves?
Well, we're about to find out, I guess, is
Really?
the honest answer I could give you here. So this film we just wrapped principal photography on, I just financed it out of pocket. And it's not to say that I couldn't have tried to do a fundraising round and find investors and more executive producers and all that kind of stuff. I really just did a cost benefit analysis there and say, okay, what's the end goal of this film? Well, those two things essentially: make a beautiful film that are going to make people cry, and number two, win some awards. Those are the stated goals with this production, and that's actually another good thing. Like whatever project or aspect of your filmmaking career you're working on, like having like a very clear, like just ask yourself that question: what is the actual goal of this film or this project or this activity I've started doing, right?
Well,
because I mean it's so basic, but people oftentimes just forget to ask themselves this.
well, because it takes over. It consumes you and forget what that
For sure.
true north is, which I've heard other writers and directors talk about. It's like I got caught up in all this and I forgot
Right.
what I was doing.
Right.
Let's talk about the power of YouTube, because for more creators, YouTube or platforms like that, you can create original content. People are doing their mini shorts.
Right.
They are doing amazing things, and they're using that not just for fun anymore. They're doing independent films to get seen and heard. So you've gone deep into YouTube. Can you talk about the way to leverage that and use that better?
Yeah, I can. I haven't quite cracked the code on how to leverage it as a filmmaker yet. But I am working on it. So here's my background, right? So I actually have like two separate paths. I prefer to just look at them as separate paths. I used to run a big YouTube channel called In It for the Money. It's mainly on crypto investment in general and just like entrepreneurship here and there. And it completely blew off. And I also published a newsletter that I would push in a call to action in every single video. So obviously you should follow my lead on that, Rich, moving forward. Because as great as sponsors are, it is better if you're pushing your own.
Yes.
Right. And digital products are a great way of doing that. Okay. So, but I had a very simple and strong brand. And what I learned essentially was that as soon as I started deviating from that, it stopped working. The whole system stopped working. So if you're a content creator, if you already have a YouTube channel or on some, I don't know what, weight loss or whatever, let's just use that as an example, right? You I'm just going to tell you right here now, you can't use that for your filmmaking career. That's just not going to work. It's actually going to work. It's going to do you a disservice because let's say you have, in my case, I had this YouTube channel, 50,000 plus subscribers. I'd put out a video off topic, right?
Yeah.
YouTube shows it to, let's say, 100 people. We don't know the exact workings of their algorithm, but something like that. And if a good chunk of those people click on it, watch it, interact with it, they're going to show it to more people. And that's the snowball effect you want as a content creator, right? But the problem is, so I put one out on some philosophy topic, which is exactly what I did, which was very stupid in retrospect.
That was way off brand.
Totally. There's a whole other story there. We can actually, for anyone interested, they can watch me on CoffeeZilla. There's a big, like a confession video almost, where I talk about my journey into Confessions of a Crypto Hype Man is the title of that video. However, okay, back to the algorithm. No, okay, but I have a crypto YouTube channel. I put out a philosophy video, which the algorithm shows it to 100 people. 2 of them click it, right? That tells the algorithm, people don't like this video. Let's not show it to more people. Yes. So it's just not going to work. So if you want to leverage YouTube and social media in general for filmmaking, you need to start hard on filmmaking and you need to stick with it and you just stay on topic. Because the people that are going to subscribe, and also this is another misconception. I think you're doing a very good job at this. My guess would be you don't have millions of viewers and subscribers, but you have a few people that are very dedicated and interested and that interact with your products. Yes. And that is much more valuable, right?
Well, and a lot of people are just letting it sit on YouTube. Part of Rock the Stage's plan, we do it. We're going to go large. We have big stuff. But part of it is you use YouTube to house it, but you direct it to another website and another place.
Yes.
And that's where you funnel them to, and you create your media empire page. You create your TV studio page. But the idea is you're still on YouTube with those analytics, but you're driving them to a place that's your own private land. And your own private land is way better than renting land.
Right. Exactly.
So when it comes to,
I'm sorry, digital equity, people sometimes call it that,
really,
right?
it is, because
that's what you're talking about.
too many people are renting land, as we say.
Right.
And you never know when they're going to change the algorithm. They're going to evaluate your content differently. They're going to put a rating system in, everything, right?
Right.
That's why you guys are just on strike, because that's going to happen to everybody now.
Right.
When it comes to writing, directing, video creation, filmographer, actor, which one do you really hang your hat on?
Whew, that's a good question. As much as I love directing, I really love directing, but it's a relative new hat I'm wearing. I think I'm a writer first and foremost, probably, or maybe I should say a storyteller in a more general sense. I was actually had like a beautiful experience shooting A Life Well Lived. There was this office scene where the lead character is told that he's suffering from a horrible heart condition, that he has like 14 days left to live or something like that. And the acting was just so on point, and everything just came together. And I was supposed to yell cut, right, so everyone could hear it. I was choking up. I was like, and it was kind of, it wasn't really embarrassing. It was a beautiful moment, right? And I feel like everyone in the room felt it. And it was
that really is the power of storytelling.
Yes, it is. But just to come back to go full circle on that, right? Yes, it was a great experience as the director, but it was really the storyteller in me. I remember sitting there thinking, having this idea 2.5 years ago with my morning coffee, and it was and then seeing it come to life like that, and it's even more powerful than it was in your mind. That is just magnificent.
So I touched on it a few minutes ago, but I'm interested in your thoughts. The film industry is going through major changes. It's not just one part of the industry.
Right.
The industry, between the streaming, the AI, there is a much more open box for creators to come in and become independents.
Right.
So what's the place of the short film within this new canon that's being developed? Where does it fit in?
That's a really good question. I think even last week my answer would have probably been different from what it is now. So my girlfriend, who's a trained screenwriter and also a big film nerd, she forced me to watch a few Wes Anderson shorts that are now on Netflix. So we have shorts on Netflix. What the hell? Right?
Yes.
But they're there. But I do want to say there's an important distinction to make between social media and film production, whether it be short or long format.
Yeah.
And that is, you can't aim for perfect. One should never aim for perfect, but you can aim for like almost perfect as a content creator. That's going to kill you, and you won't be able to deliver on scale what you need to deliver. Maybe okay, let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
So I have a good friend and his ex. They run this company together, and I visited them at their office a couple of years ago, and they had a little Post-it sticker on the wall that said, "Don't chase unicorns." And then I started a debate with him. What are you talking about? Like, one should chase unicorns, right? Because they also try to leverage social media for their business, right? So we had this big blowout almost about whether one should chase unicorns. But I'm actually back in the camp where I started, which is one should chase unicorns. But the thing is, you can never predict with 100% accuracy what's going to be a unicorn, right? It could be this interview. It could be some other interview. It could be the tiniest of things that maybe something looks bad. You end up in some shitstorm, but it turns out online or on X or whatever, right? And it turns out to be a good thing, right? The best thing that ever happened to your brand, right? Or who knows, right? But just as a consequence, I think I published like 250 videos on my old YouTube channel. And some of them got a few thousand views, right? But I had a couple that got 250,000 views, right? But could I have predicted that?
No.
Well, hindsight is always 20/20, right? So it seemed like I could have maybe, but so maybe I had a suspicion that this video would do well, and sometimes it sort of held up, but you can't really predict it with any.
Well, so that takes me back to my interview with David Woods and William Bodell, which you mentioned Bill earlier. But Bill was part of the production of Sharknado.
Right.
And I brought it up, did not tell him I was going to bring it up, but I'm like, it's a cult classic. It could have been a short, probably should have been a short, honestly, but it was that quirky, weird, out of the box, and the B film, it blew up.
Right.
So sometimes you don't know what you have until it hits the public.
Exactly.
How do you handle that as a creator? Because you have your thoughts, your heart's poured into it, and then all of a sudden, Sharknado now is a phenomenon.
Yeah, well, in terms of social media, I'm regretfully, I have to inform you that it's a matter of output. You need to buy yourself a lot of lottery tickets, and again, the odds of winning the lottery on social media are much higher than playing the actual lottery. So that's the good news, right? But the bad news is you just don't know. You just don't know. I mean, there again. That said, there is some stuff that works in. Okay, let me ask you this, Rich. Do you happen to know the first rule of screenwriting, or the number one rule?
A had the ending in mind, I think.
that is. Yeah, I still struggle with that. Okay, so that's good. No, but the number one rule of screenwriting is don't be boring. Never be boring.
Never.
Right. And I want to say that really applies to content creation on social media as well. And then, of course, there's all the specific little, I know the whole YouTube landscape specifically has been changed by Mr. Beast, who's been sharing all his, this is the formula I use to make the perfect viral video, right? And then everybody does that, and then it stops working, and then something else works. So, but at the end of the day, like, if you just try to be original, right? But here's the challenge in terms of filmmaking, whether it's shorts, or features, or whatever you're involved in there, right? It takes a long time and effort and money and dedication to make even a good short film. So if you need to put out, let's say on average, 50, let's call it 50 pieces of content before something takes off. Then you're looking at a journey of several years, right? For something that may or may not happen.
So that's a great point to bring up, because people don't realize you shoot way more than ever gets off the editing floor. The editing process is where the magic happens.
Yes.
And editors are not usually recognized and everything else, but that's where the magic, they'll move the pieces, put the right order, the right timing, but you leave so much on the editing floor to make the gold come. Help people understand that, because then you also have the promotional, the content. So you're building all this resource catalog,
right,
to promote it, but it's sitting in a can waiting to be released. But you want to release it, but you're promoting, right?
Right. So I mean, in this case, with these shorts, the ones I've just been working on, we're not actually doing any promotion, because why? Again, it came. So the previous film I referred to a few minutes ago, Mimi Goes to Rehab. I asked Mimi, my friend, Misa is her real name. I asked her, like, okay, what is your dream goal with this film, right? And she said, okay, we're going to win some awards. We're going to be discovered by people with money, right? And they're going to give us money to create the feature version. I said, great. Let's not worry about social media then, right? Because that's not important for this project.
And I
but it could be for a different project.
Right. But I think that's a wise thing, because if you really want to get into the film, the media, TV, you need to communicate, speak, share, be there, not where all the other crazy social noise is. I think you are hitting it really well. You need to stay in that lane where they are going to be seen and found and heard.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Not spread yourself thin. To try and again, whatever film or video content you're creating is not going to be for everyone, and so trying to bring it to everyone or in front of everyone, you'll be doing that in vain. I mean, you just need this. Back to that article. Maybe you remember this, Rich, who wrote this article. All you need is 1,000 raving fans to make a living off of social media. Who wrote it? Do you remember? You've heard of it, I'm sure.
Yes, I have heard of it. I've
Right.
even read it, but yes.
Right. There was a recent update by, I think it was published on Andreessen Horowitz's website that said, no, 2023, you only need 500 raving fans, right? You can make a living. But it's actually a really good point, right? You need, okay, again, let me just make this overall point. Whether you're a filmmaker or a content creator for social media, or whether you're someone who tries to use both or leverage both to create some synergy or cross-pollination effect. There's really no reason to try to reach everyone. This, I know it's a vanity metric, essentially. Oh, I had 55,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel and 4.5 million views over a year and a half. I was proud of that, right? But it doesn't mean anything, because most of the people at the end of the day didn't care about me or what I was all about, right?
Well, this is a really great point, because even with what we're doing here, and I told you backstage, we're intentionally going where I've always wanted to go with the Rack Stage. We are making a very intentional turn for more of the actor, director, the writer, the real media savvy people, where we've been doing interviews with authors and a lot of social media people in the general sense. But really, we've always wanted to get into the space of the film, the writing, the directing. And we're really intentionally making that curve, by doing interviews with you and Bill and David and others. So you do have to pick your lane and dive into that lane and stay on it. Right. Because that's how you get known in that space. That's how they'll recognize you, is you really belong here with us.
Right.
But if you're doing all the social media everywhere, after a while, they don't know where you belong.
Exactly. Yeah. Find your niche. There's no way around that.
I'm going to reference a show, and I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but it was a TV show called Sanctuary. Amanda Tapping was the writer, producer of it. It was the first one that used total green screen, and it was started off as a short.
Nice.
And it blew up. Because everyone knew Amanda Tapping from Stargate.
Right.
Her cast was also former Stargate people, but she started with her own production company, did her own thing, broke in the green screen, and she proved you could do green screen, small room shots that look amazing. How important is that for people to realize you can take a small room and make a film in it now?
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. But I guess the thing to consider about that is, I mean, on a more general level, even technology enables us to do all sorts of insane things today. A couple months ago, I saw this pizza ad that was made by AI. It was horrible, but it was kind of hilarious. I don't know if you stumbled on it, but it was kind of creepy, right? But you're right, with the green screen you can do all sorts of things. But here's the question you need to ask yourself: okay, what am I going to do with, let's say I do master the green screen technology? So what am I going to do with it? Right? Does it tie? Is it an important component of my master plan? And number two, how long is it going to take me to learn how to really master it? Right? Because you can probably teach yourself almost anything these days, but some things may take 2 hours, some may take 20, and some may take 2,000. And that's definitely the case with filmmaking. Right. Right. So it's a trade-off. Let me quote Tom Sowell there. Everything's a trade. There are no solutions. There are only trade-offs.
So let's go back to our original premise of how do you break into the industry. If someone came to you and said, look, Asger, teach me, show me, mentor me on how to get my foot in this crazy business.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be an actor. Let's just pick the actor side. What do you tell them? How do you get them to get that first crack in?
I think I'm going to give a more general piece of advice that's very powerful, and I'm sure you can utilize. You're already probably utilizing it on this channel. Is recruit upwards. Just always do that. And okay, so how does that relate to the example at hand? Where you want to be an actor, right? Well, you find someone who is an actor and you ask them. I remember this. This was my third acting gig. I think I caught a ride with my fellow actress, and she was talking about the acting sites that you need to have a professional profile on. And I realized, oh my God, there's really just one acting site, which is Actors Access. If you're only interested in theatrical work, that is the only place you need to be. once you have some real material. I am a huge fan of Backstage. It's a great career starter. Start on Backstage. It is absolutely, because you can actually land some really good gigs on there. Competition isn't as fierce. Okay, but recruit uppers, right? So then you meet this person. Okay, so maybe this person helps you set up your profile or whatever, gives you some insights, so you land an acting gig. Then you're on set with other actors and filmmakers, and you ask them questions, right? This is where the humility comes into play, right? You just understand you know nothing about this, what's going on right now, but everyone's happy to talk to you, tell you about, like the makeup artist, right? They're happy to tell you about what's going on right now, why you're doing this, or what else have you worked on. And I mean, actually, I've met some fantastic people that are just doing makeup on set, or I shouldn't even say just. Yes, let's take that back, right?
They make you look good.
But let's just, you can use it for filmmaking, you can use it for podcasting. I used it on my podcast. So I was transitioning my podcast, or rather, I'm sorry, my YouTube channel went from this crypto nightmare I was talking about, in it for the money, and I was rebranding it as a podcast called MetaQuest. I was later threatened by Facebook/Meta, because they called their new VR headset MetaQuest, which was just a coincidence. I just got these threatening emails at some point. Okay, that's a side track. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Right. Okay, I lost my train of thought here. Get me back on track, Rich.
No. We were just talking about that advice you would give to someone who said, I want to be an actor.
Yes, recruit upwards, right? Okay, but so my last dying act on my crypto channel was I managed to get an interview with John McAfee. Right. So he thought he was being interviewed on this crypto channel, but so he didn't know. Okay, but I did the rebrand in the background. So I mean, it was the same social media channels, but it had another name now and stuff like that. But once I had him, it was really just a numbers game about researching people that I really wanted to interview. I had James Flynn, the guy who invented the Flynn effect. I had Peter Boghossian on, that you may know. Liz Stocko, a bunch of pretty big fish, essentially. And that was all possible because for each new guest I got on, I put it in the auto signature, right? Oh, would you like to come on this podcast? I've looked into your work. I would talk about this and that, right? First of all, demonstrate that you researched them, just like you did at the beginning of this talk. It's not an interview; it's a conversation. Right? But that principle can be applied to almost any type of business or creative endeavor. Also, if you're looking to break into the film industry, don't suck up to people. I'm not talking about brown nosing here or being this annoying person who sometimes you just get that vibe from people. They just want to network with you, but essentially they just want something they think you have or use you as a tool. I hate that. Right? Don't do that.
The biggest point that I've learned is treat them like they're just your friend. Treat them with dignity, respect, ask inquisitive questions, but do not be a pansy. Do not be a pansy.
Fellow human being, right?
Yeah. I want to go back to one more thing as we kind of wind down here. You brought it up, and it's been sticking in my head the whole time. I think it's a great thing to bring up. I don't think I've heard people talk about this. I know the idea has been done of assemble your dream team. Because I know several writers, producers, you'll see the same actor appear in the film time, and I mean,
over and over again.
It's over and over, and then they'll have someone else come into their film, and you'll start seeing them show up. And they went, "That's another one I want." So explain the concept of building that dream team and why it's so valuable to have that dream team to help you grow in the business.
Well, you can sort of lift each other up with the cliche, right? But there's also just the fact that realizing that, like, okay, you can have a 10 or 20 person crew or production team, let's call it that, right? And but the more people you have, the more planning you need, right? You need to make sure, okay, does anyone have allergies? Do they have food preferences? Do they have this and that? Who can pick up this person and that person? It becomes this enormous operation. And but compare that to a 4-person crew, right?
Yeah.
Sure, the camera operator is also the DP and does lighting and maybe even runs audio too, right?
Yeah.
And the director is also handles crafty, services, right? Which means food for non-film people, and also so you essentially just double in all the roles. But the real strength here is, so this is what I'm looking to do with my next film, which is likely going to be a feature. So I'm looking for my dream team, which is going to be very few people, very competent people that all are. It's even their second nature to go that extra mile. They just can't help themselves.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm also one of those people. Okay, so we're looking for dream team, and we're saying, okay, well, our budget is $0 right now, right? But we're all producers on this, right? So everyone gets an equal cut, and we're actually going to try to make some money from it. Yes, using some of the strategies I've learned from social media. Not all of them work. People aren't interested in watching behind-the-scenes content if they know none of the people involved. So that's one thing, right? And again, you can't be boring, right?
No.
And watching people talk, or they're setting up some scene or whatever, right? If you don't know who they are, what they're doing, that's going to be boring, right? But there are some strategies that may just work.
Well, and I would think having your A team, your dream team,
right?
Eventually, you have a shorthand of communication, which makes everything way easier. Yes. Everyone knows. You want to go here with you. You want to go there with you. Oh, we're moving now.
Right.
There's something when you have clicked as a team and you have that shorthand, it makes life a lot easier.
Right. Yeah, there was actually, like, just to that point, I remember this recent production we did. It was like the DP asked, like, this young camera operator, it was his first day on set. I'd never met him before. He asked, "Hey, could you go get?" And he was already there. Like, you'd already gotten it. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Asger, it's been great to have you here, but we do want to let people know how to learn more about you. Again, I've done my research. I've done it. But everyone can hit the QR code and go learn more about Asger Folmann. What are they going to find on your website? What's all packed in there?
Right now, there's just like a little bit of like a presentation of some of my work. And I am actually working on a blog there. So right now I just have 2 articles out. But I'm sort of in this transition period. So I am focusing hard on the filmmaking aspect. But I'm also focusing on some social media stuff. So I need to balance my time wisely.
Well, and then we're also looking forward to the film short, A Life Well Lived, right?
Thank you so much. Yes, that's going to be awesome.
And is there a tentative release date, and where could it be found?
No, and I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
No, we're going to do the festival circuit on that. And
you are going to do the festivals, okay?
Yes, we're definitely doing that. I'm confident we're going to do well in the festival circuit as well. That is the stated goal of that production. But at some point, it will be launched, shared online.
Asger, thanks for taking the time to be with us tonight, live from Hollywood. I really appreciate your time. And again, Rock the Stage Media is here every Wednesday night. Rock the Stage Show. We're having amazing conversation with actors, writers, producers, directors, people that are leveraging media in amazing ways, just like we heard here tonight. And as always, if you ever want to learn more about what we're doing with Rock the Stage Media, just go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, because these shows are there. We have bonus interviews sometimes with some of these amazing guests, because we can't squeeze it on in here live. So go subscribe, follow, and become a part of our family and be a part of what we're doing with Rock the Stage Media. It just hits that QR code and come and join us. That's going to do it for tonight. We'll be back next week once again with another edition of Rock the Stage, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We join you with amazing guests to help you shine on camera, shine on stage, and elevate you and your brand authority. We'll see you back here next week. Till then, I'm the Trigger, Rich Bontrager. Thanking again our sponsor, Audivita Studios, for helping us power this. Again, they're going to take this show, turn it into an audio podcast, subscribe to it, and follow on Apple Tunes and other locations. We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for Rock the Stage.